Friends, gather round, for we must discuss another baffling episode in the saga of American politics. Our protagonist, you ask? None other than former President Donald Trump, a man who seems to view climate change with the same skepticism most reserved for a raccoon wearing a monocle offering financial advice. In 2017, he signed an executive order with the grace and subtlety of a runaway hot dog cart, effectively revoking an Obama-era policy designed to address the very real threat of climate change. This wasn't just any policy, mind you. This was the Federal Flood Risk Management Standard, a rule requiring that federally funded infrastructure projects factor in the potential impacts of climate change. This meant considering things like rising sea levels and increased rainfall when building in floodplains. Basically, it was common sense on stilts. But common sense, as we've learned, is about as common in Washington as a sober intern at a congressional fundraiser. Now you might be thinking, John, what's so bad about a little flood? And to that I say, have you met a flood? They're like the uninvited guests who show up early, eat all your food, and then crash on your couch for a month, leaving behind nothing but soggy memories and a hefty insurance claim. The Federal Flood Risk Management Standard, enacted during the Obama administration, was meant to prevent this kind of watery chaos. It recognized that climate change is making extreme weather events more frequent and intense, and that ignoring this reality is like playing Russian roulette with a water balloon. Eventually, someone's getting soaked. The standard required that new infrastructure projects built in floodplains with taxpayer dollars be constructed to withstand future flood risks, including those exacerbated by climate change. It was a forward-thinking policy that aimed to protect lives, property, and the American taxpayer's wallet. So why did the Trump administration decide to toss this seemingly sensible policy out with the bathwater? Well, according to them, the standard was too costly and hampered infrastructure development. They argued that it imposed unnecessary burdens on businesses and slowed down the construction of essential projects. Essentially, they believed that ignoring the problem of climate change would magically make it disappear. It's like trying to get rid of a house fire by throwing your tax returns into the flames. It's not going to work, and it's only going to make things worse. Unsurprisingly, the decision to revoke the flood risk standard was met with widespread criticism from environmental groups, scientists, and anyone with a functioning prefrontal cortex. They argued that ignoring climate change and infrastructure planning is not only short-sighted but also incredibly dangerous. By failing to account for the future impacts of climate change, we're essentially setting ourselves up for disaster. We're building infrastructure that's destined to be flooded, putting lives at risk, and wasting billions of taxpayer dollars in the process.